The most dangerous thing a pop star can own is her own face. In 1978, you could buy Debbie Harry's face on a poster or a button, but her label reminded everyone, Blondie is a group. The face sold the records. The woman was not supposed to matter. 48 years later, strangers voted on Chappell Roan's body. Different century, same fight. 4 women who refused to be products, and 4 heirs still fighting on new ground. And the uncomfortable part nobody puts in the tribute reels. What happened when the industry learned to sell the refusal itself? Grace Jones did not soften herself to enter pop. She built something the industry could not digest. The flat top, the razor cheekbones, the shoulders. With designer Jean-Paul Goude, she engineered a persona so extreme no label could package it. The myth was hers alone. Nightclubbing, 1981. Critics could not tell if she was singing, sculpting, or staring them down. And when a talk show host turned his back on her live on air, treating her like a novelty act, she hit him. On camera. The press called her terrifying for decades. But listen to what she was saying. You do not get to decide what I am. Now what Roan, Chappell Roan. Kaylee Amist built her deliberately, in drag, paint, camp, theater. The persona was the consent form. This part is for you. The woman underneath is not. When fans treated the woman like the character, grabbing her, following her, she posted the modern version of the Grace Jones slap. Not a hit. A statement. I don't want it. Plain words. Historic backlash. The internet called her ungrateful, difficult, scary. Word for word what the tabloids once called Grace Jones. Because a constructed woman is a great product, right up until she announces she holds the copyright. Jones and Roan built masks to control the gaze. But what happens when the industry builds the mask for you? What happens when you are a teenager when they hand it over? That story is where this goes next. Debbie Harry got her stage name from men shouting at her on the street. Hey, Blondie. She picked the insult up and kept it. She filed the edges and made it the brand. The platinum pinup played with a smirk. Part Marilyn, part Switchblade. She knew exactly what image she was selling, and she sold it on her terms. Parallel Lines, 1978. And Heart of Glass takes a punk band from CBGB to #1. But the industry does not do irony. The world kept collapsing an entire band into her face. Hence the buttons. Blondie is a group. The button was a firewall. You can buy the image. You do not get the woman. Olivia Rodrigo inherited the opposite problem. Nobody let her build the package. She came pre-packaged. A Disney kid, image managed since childhood, launched into pop with the branding already printed. Her move was not to burn the package. It was to hijack the machine. Driver's license breaks streaming records. She takes the leverage and points the money somewhere the machine never intended. Fund for Good, tour ticket proceeds routed to reproductive rights organizations, over $2 million. And she is still escalating. This August the 29th, she stages Daisy Chain Fields, an all-women festival. Every performer donating their time. 100% of net proceeds to women's health. Harry hijacked the image. Rodrigo hijacked the revenue. But there is a blunter kind of ownership. Just stop asking. 23 labels rejected Joan Jett. 23. This is after the Runaways, after she had toured the world as a teenager. The industry looked at a woman with a guitar and unanimously said, "No market." So in 1980, she did the most radical thing available. She stopped asking permission. She and Kenny Laguna founded Blackheart Records and sold her albums out of the trunk of a car. One of the first women in rock to own her own label. Two years later, I Love Rock and Roll sits at #1 for 7 straight weeks, on a label she owned. Not signed to. Owned. The woman 23 labels passed on delivered the anthem, and every dollar of leverage stayed home. Billie Eilish tried to own something harder than a label. The gaze itself. The baggy clothes were a strategy, and she said so at 17. Nobody gets an opinion on what they cannot see. Think about that. A teenager engineering her own silhouette to preempt an industry known for sexualizing teenage girls. It half worked. The Grammys swept in, and the discourse simply moved, to the clothes, to her body the moment she changed them. Years later, she admitted the control did not really work. That is the honest lesson hiding in this whole story. Jett could own the masters, the label, the money, paper you can hold. But image? Once the algorithm has it, even the biggest pop star alive is renting. Which brings us to the two women who understood that reinvention itself is the asset. Everything a modern pop star calls an era, Madonna invented. And she invented it as a hostile act. 1984. She performs like a virgin in a wedding dress, and the adults pronounce her career dead. It was the opposite, because the scandal was hers, authored, owned, deployed. 1990. MTV bans Justify My Love. She does not apologize. She releases the video for sale herself. She turned her own censorship into a product, and the ban became a marketing campaign she did not have to pay for. Then 1992, the part the montages skip, Maverick, her own label, her own publishing. One of the richest deals any woman in music had signed. The provocation got headlines. The contracts got power. Rosalía is running that same play at higher altitude. She executive produces her own record. The flamenco scholar who swerved into deconstructed reggaeton with Motomami while critics asked if she was allowed to. Then last November, at the exact moment every industry incensed screamed shorter and faster, she released Lux, an orchestral album. Recorded with the London Symphony, sung in 13 languages. The best reviewed album of 2025. Not that Lux is good. No committee would have approved it. She did not ask. That is Madonna's inheritance, authorship. So run the thread. Jones built a self the industry could not process. Harry sold them the image and kept the woman. Jett bought the means of production. Madonna authored her own scandals and then bought the paperwork. Their heirs fight the same war. The gatekeeper is a feed now. Some nights, it is us. Because here is the uncomfortable ending. The rebellion these women bled for is now the industry's most reliable product. Unapologetic is a marketing category. Defiance has a merch line. So ask, who owns that image? Her, the label, the algorithm, or you, whose attention is the only currency they were ever fighting over? Tell me in the comments.